So, you've got your apps and services spread out everywhere, right? Some in one cloud, some in another. But how in the world do they talk to each other securely? Well, that's exactly what we're diving into today. We're going to break down this really cool solution called cross-cloud machine identity. Think of it as the secret digital handshake that keeps our modern world connected.
And it really all boils down to this one big question. I mean, think about it. For us humans, it's easy, right? You log into a website, you type in a password. Done. But what about a machine? When some piece of software in, say, Cloud A needs to grab data from Cloud B, how does it prove it's the real deal and not some imposter? How does that digital handshake happen securely, like millions of times a day, without a single person clicking a button? Okay, to really get this, let's paint a picture. It's a super common setup you see all the time these days. We've got this company, and their whole data pipeline, the thing that makes their business run, is split between two different cloud providers, a tale of two clouds, if you will.
So, let's say your app is running over in Cloud A, and it desperately needs to grab some important data from a database sitting in Cloud B. Here's the catch. From Cloud B's point of view, that request is coming from a total stranger. These cloud environments are basically walled gardens by design. They don't just trust each other out of the box. Not at all.
Now, the old way of dealing with this? Man, it was messy, and honestly, pretty dangerous. You'd basically create this super long-lasting password, a secret key, and just stick it right into your application's code over in Cloud A. But you can probably guess the problem, right? If that key ever gets leaked, and trust me, they often do, you're looking at a massive security breach. So, yeah, there has to be a better way.
And of course, there is a better way. It involves a few key players that make all this magic happen. Don't worry, we're not going to get lost in jargon. Just think of these as the essential tools we need to build that solid bridge of trust between our two separate clouds.
All right, first up, we have something called workload identity. It's exactly what it sounds like. This is the official verifiable ID for a piece of software. It's how a service proves who it is inside its own home turf. Yeah, it's pretty much a machine's official driver's license, issued by its home cloud.
Next up is the service principle. Now, this is a really clever idea. It's kind of like setting up an embassy in a foreign country. You create this digital representative over in Cloud B before anything happens. It basically sits there and tells Cloud B, hey, just so you know, a service from Cloud A with this specific identity is going to come knocking. It's legit, and here's a list of exactly what it's allowed to do.
And that brings us to the real magic ingredient, the short-lived token. Forget about those passwords that are good for years. This thing, it's a credential that's only valid for like a few minutes. It's the perfect analogy for a single-use visa or a temporary passport. It's issued for one specific journey to do one specific thing. And the second that job is done, poof, it expires and is totally useless.
And when you put them side by side, the difference is just night and day. The old way, with those static keys, was just a constant security headache. If a hacker steals one, they've got the keys to the kingdom until you figure it out and manually shut it down. But this new way, with tokens that are generated on demand and expire in minutes, even if someone managed to grab one, who cares? A few moments later, it's just a useless string of characters.
Okay, so we've met our key players. Now let's actually follow a single request and see how this all works in practice. We're going to trace its journey, step by step, as it makes that daring leap across the cloud divide. So here's the mission for our little workload, our hero in this story. It's simple, but it's absolutely critical. It needs to securely fetch some data from that database over in Cloud B. But remember, static passwords are a no-go. It has to prove its identity in a smart, secure, and totally dynamic way.
All right, this is it. This brings us to the absolute heart of the matter, the step-by-step breakdown of how this actually happens. This is that digital handshake we've been talking about, the sequence of events that makes all of this secure communication possible.
Okay, let's break it down. First, our workload over in Cloud A basically tells its own cloud, hey, I need to go on a trip. Give me some ID. And it gets a token that proves who it is. Then, it takes that home token and shows it to the bouncer at Cloud B's identity system. Now, here's the crucial part. Cloud B looks at that token, checks the signature, and has a thought process like, okay, I trust the folks who issued this. And I recognize this specific workload because, hey, we have an embassy, a service principal set up for it already. So with that trust established, Cloud B says, welcome, and issues a brand new, short-lived token. This is that temporary passport, valid only inside Cloud B. The workload then uses this new passport to make its request to the database. And finally, the database just does a quick check. sees the passport is legit, and opens the door. Boom. Success. The digital handshake is complete.
So we just walked through the how. It's a pretty cool little dance, right? But what about the why? Why bother with all these steps? Well, the payoff here is huge. It's not just a small improvement. It fundamentally changes the game for building secure systems.
I mean, the benefits are just crystal clear. The biggest one, of course, is a massive leap in security. You've got zero static secrets just sitting around waiting to be leaked or stolen. It's a game changer. Plus, the whole thing is automated. Machines handle their own identities and trust negotiations. You know what that means for developers? Incredible speed and agility, because they're not stuck managing complicated credentials. And on top of all that, you get this amazing fine-grained control. Access is only granted for a specific task and for a super short period of time. Nothing more, nothing less.
Look, if you take away just one thing from all of this, let it be this. The whole goal, the entire philosophy, is to get to a world of zero static secrets. It's that simple. Because if there are no long-term secrets to steal in the first place, you've just wiped out one of the biggest security risks in modern technology.
And that right there just opens up a whole new universe of possibilities. When your teams no longer have to stress about the basic security of how their services talk to each other. When your machines can just prove who they are, securely and automatically, no matter where they are, the whole conversation shifts. It stops being about, ugh, how do we connect this safely? And it becomes, okay, what incredible thing are we going to build next?